This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. Child protection workers across Tasmania have walked off the job today amid ongoing frustrations with resourcing in the sector. Comes alongside the appointment of an interim Children's Commissioner following the resignation of Mark Morrissey last month, an appointment the government says will keep the child protection redesign on track.
Walking off the job, child protection workers say they're fed up with rising caseloads and no additional staff.
Jackie, Patrice, have a heart. Give our kids a safer start.
It's not a question of if a child will fall through the gaps, it's a question of when.
Unions representing workers say more than 30 vacancies are sitting idle in the child protection sector. The Minister says work is underway to fill those gaps.
Recruiting an extra 31 staff under child protection redesign, plus on top of that we are recruiting an extra 12 staff that will actually fill different roles across the state.
There is significant resources that have gone into child safety, but there has not been one single child safety officer or support worker employed.
But as vacancies in the sector linger, the role of the Commissioner for Children and Young People has been filled in the interim by the Tasmanian Manager of National Disability Services.
It's been a very difficult choice to make this decision to step into the role while the position is filled.
David Clemens maintains his NDS position on 6 months absence leave, but will consider the position permanently, having more than 2 decades of experience.
I started out my career as an advocate for children in the out-of-home care system in Queensland. I've worked in direct service supporting children in the out-of-home care, youth justice.
The permanent application process, positions closed for that on Sunday. That is an Australia-wide recruitment process for the role.
Outgoing Commissioner Mark Morrissey lodged his final report to the Minister this week, highlighting concerns around rising caseloads as echoed by staff today. There's calls for the role itself to be redesigned amid a fear of an inability to act independently of government.
What we need to see is a government hold up their end of the bargain and ensure that the Children's Commissioner is able to perform their job in an independent way in the best interest of children.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A Launceston man has been found not guilty by a jury of assaulting a police officer. It had been alleged Carl Maxwell Hall drove a car at a Launceston constable during a police chase. But he's now a free man. Our reporter Monica Dadson has the details.
It took the jury around 4 hours to reach its majority not guilty verdict before Carl Maxwell Hall was told he's free to go. During the 2-day trial, it was alleged Hall assaulted Launceston Constable Blake Nolan by intentionally driving at him. Hall had earlier been caught speeding near Kmart. Police then followed him through Newstead and St Leonards. It was on Johnston Road where officers had set up road spikes that the Crown alleged Hall drove towards Constable Nolan, who had to jump out of the way.
I was guilty of the rest of it, of course, but wasn't guilty of this, so yeah, I was hoping for this result, but you never know.
The not guilty verdict followed today's closing addresses. The Crown claimed evidence given by police officers yesterday made it clear Hall pointed his car at them, saying his act of moving the car in the direction of Constable Nolan was intentional and deliberate. But the defence argued Hall veered to the middle of the road to avoid road spikes, not to strike the officer. Hall has now been acquitted of the assault charge. What's next now?
Yeah, 6-pack of beer and some flowers and a bottle of wine for the partner and go home.
Hall says it's been a tough 6 months for his family and he's ready to put this behind him.
Tasmanian tiger trackers have revealed images of what they say is a thylacine near Medina. The species is thought to have gone extinct in 1936. A well-known biologist says the new footage shows what could be a small thylacine, but is more likely a large spotted-tailed quoll. Now it's your turn to see the vision and make up your own mind.
Could this be the grainy footage that solves a mystery? A creature moves through the bush. Is it a Tasmanian tiger?
Oh yeah, wow, that's it. That's it.
The story started when Greg Booth says he had a first-hand encounter with a thylacine in 2015.
It's something I've never seen before. I was gobsmacked.
He teamed up with tiger tracker Adrian Richardson and set up cameras in the area. They found plenty of wildlife, but then in late 2016, they say they had success.
There's face there and there's the parent there looking at it.
This footage was captured somewhere near Medina, showing an animal with a distinctive rigid tail. In another shot, something bumps the camera.
It is grainy, we understand that, and it's grainy because of it was taken at 8 p.m. at night.
Before releasing it publicly, they showed their findings to wildlife biologist Nick Mooney. He rates it as a 1 in 3 chance at best the animal is a thylacine, saying if the footage is authentic, it could be a small thylacine, but is more likely a large spotted-tailed quoll. But the trackers are seeing the positive side.
It's exciting times for the species and for Tasmania. I only wish I could give you more.
But one thing they won't reveal is the exact location.
We don't want the area disturbed at all, and we certainly don't want anybody there trying to cage it or shoot it.
Tomorrow marks the 81st anniversary of the death of the last known thylacine here at this former zoo in Hobart. The Environment Department says the species is classified as endangered, presumed extinct, with no confirmed evidence of its survival in the past 50 years. But the tiger trackers hope today's development will change that. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A Launceston man has thanked his neighbour for saving him from being stuck inside a burning building in the CBD. The occupants were forced to evacuate early this morning after fire broke out in a downstairs workshop.
Jason Gray was asleep upstairs in his unit when a knock on the door woke him to this.
The next door neighbour just going, Jason, get out. But if she didn't knock on the door, I probably would have still been asleep.
Fire crews arrived at the building on the corner of Bathurst and Elizabeth Streets shortly before 7 this morning. Smoke filled the downstairs area and was billowing up.
It wasn't until I got out here, until I saw all the plumes of smoke coming out, that I knew it was pretty bad.
Substantial damage to the ground floor rear unit and the workshop area, but the rest of the building is remarkably holding up very well.
The blaze has been deemed accidental, but the exact cause is undetermined. Jason says he grabbed his guitar when he was forced to evacuate to ensure it wasn't ruined. Firefighters are thankful all the occupants got out safe.
They did really well. They provided good information to us, and that's always gives us a head start if the occupants can provide accurate information, so that's excellent.
Traffic in the area was affected for around an hour as one lane of Bathurst Street was closed. Monica Dadson at Southern Cross News.
The creative community is warming up for tonight's official launch of Junction Arts Festival. More than 30 shows will be held over 5 days and nights, appealing to a broad range of tastes. Tom Johnson was at the heart of the action a short time ago.
I'm here in Princess Square, surrounded by the colour and buzz of Junction 2017. Now in its 7th year, Junction has become one of the biggest shows on the state's creative calendar. Earlier today, Princess Square got a culture shock when the festival moved in.
We've got a big free music program every night and every day of the festival. There's free bands on in here. But then in our other tent, we've also got a big cabaret season as well. So there's just so much to come and see.
Those pulling the strings at Junction want to build on last year's success. The move to Princess Square proved to be a hit. 1,600 tickets were snapped up in total, selling out most events.
We had 50% people who came last year hadn't been before, so that's related to the fact that we're now in the park and it's much more visible.
I'm giving a little sneak peek tonight of my 2 shows, one that is a Madonna tribute and the other is an Annie Lennox tribute, so I'm going to do a little taste of both tonight.
The local council and state government are tipping money into the festival to see it continue until at least 2021.
Part of the deal with Junction is to see if we can bring in more visitors from interstate.
So there is an eclectic mix of events in store. The show goes on until Sunday.
The Bureau of Meteorology is expecting more snow to fall across the state tomorrow and Friday. In the past 24 hours, Tasmanians have captured their surrounds blanketed by snowfall down to 200 metres. These incredible pictures were taken from a drone on a family farm in Sheffield. Well, the team at Ben Lomond couldn't tell how much had fallen because their height markers were buried in powder. And visitors to Cradle Mountain also found themselves in a spot of bother with cars covered from rim to roof. Motorists are reminded to check for road closures and to take extra care in the slippery conditions. The skyrocketing popularity of women's Aussie rules football is leading to more infrastructure investment. $250,000 is being spent to upgrade the surface and lighting at Prospect Park, so more matches can be scheduled on game days. Gate takings are also expected to increase with the addition of more night games.
So they'll be able to play some nighttime games, and it actually lights up the full ground, so it makes it a safer game for both teams.
This services a growing catchment of Launceston as well. It services the Hadsman area and obviously the very strong growth in Prospect, and it's important that we've got facilities that can cater for the growing needs of our community.
The state government and Meander Valley Council are bankrolling the development. The Heart Foundation is launching its major fundraising drive to help in the fight against heart disease. A prominent local business owner is sharing his experience of a cardiac arrest and how early intervention helped save his life and could save more.
Will Priestley has a busy life as the owner of several local businesses, including the bustling Pilgrim Coffee Shop. But that life almost came crashing down earlier this year during a hockey match.
I actually can't remember a lot of it. What I've been told is that I passed out. I was laying on the ground. They thought I was stretching. I then started to turn blue.
He shared his experience of suffering this cardiac arrest at a Heart Foundation breakfast to raise awareness of how early intervention saved his life.
If there wasn't someone there who knew what to do, I would have died. It's as simple as that. So CPR, the act of CPR saved my life.
He is extremely fortunate. He had a cardiac arrest in the right place with the right people surrounding him. So they were able to deliver very early, effective CPR.
The Heart Foundation is urging businesses to get involved by training staff in CPR and by basing life-saving defibrillators through the community.
It's very important to firstly understand and administer CPR, and then secondly to access a defibrillator as quickly as possible, because it is the defibrillator that can restart the heart before that person gets to an ambulance and gets to hospital.
It's launching its big fundraising drive this month, the Big Heart Appeal.
We invest in research across the whole of Australia, which clearly benefits Tasmanians.
It's a massive problem. It's still the #1 killer, cardiovascular disease in Tasmania and Australia and the developed Western world.
Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A new digital tour guide has been released for Launceston. From the palm of your hand, locals and visitors can learn the secrets behind popular sites using the Uncover Launceston app. Users can follow walking trails guided by their phone or receive alerts when passing places with an interesting background story.
What we've actually showcased is what Launceston is, what's our rawness, our richness of our history and beauty.
More than 100 points of interest are featured on the app. Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The share market has closed lower due to a broad sell-off of banks, insurers and other financial stocks. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 16.5 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 79.88 US cents and just under 67 euro cents.
He's been one of the TSL surprise packages this year and, as we found out, one of the competition's biggest characters too. Today, Clarence's James Holmes was rewarded for a stellar season in the Roos backline, claiming the Matthew Richardson medal.
He was one of Holmes' footballing heroes growing up, and today the 19-year-old joined the elite list of Matthew Richardson medalists.
I lined up at the mall when I was a little kid and got his signature on my footy card, and that was pretty cool. Still got it, actually.
The brash teenager made his senior debut in round 2, with Clarence in need of a small backman.
I was so excited. I was beside myself, just couldn't stop smiling. I didn't get a kick the rest of the training.
Now, having played 18 senior games this season, whilst developing into a pivotal part of the Roos defence, Holmes has not only exceeded the club's expectations, but also his own.
My goals were, I like because I wrote them all down and stuff at the start of the year. And my goal was to play 6 senior games.
Off the field, he's a very much a like character, and he's got some confidence, which is great, and I think he'll develop into a bit of a leader one day for the footy club.
The award as much a shock as it was an honour.
Yeah, I was quite surprised when I got the call from Jez yesterday. I was working away and I thought he was telling me that I was getting dropped or something like that.
Yeah, I probably should have, maybe baited him up a little bit with dropping him, but...
And from rising star to seasoned veteran, Lauderdale stalwart Robbie McManus will lace up for his 150th game this weekend when the Bombers take on flag favourites North Launceston.
I mean, it's where I want to be and where I've played a lot of my footy, so I just appreciate the teammates I get to share it with and hopefully bring the 150th in with a win.
After being out with injury for 6 weeks and playing the majority of the season in the Lauderdale backline, the Bombers made the decision to drift Ben McGuinness forward in Saturday's qualifying final win against Clarence, with the move proving a masterstroke. Used to lining up alongside his brother Josh in Lauderdale's half-back line, McGuinness found himself in unfamiliar territory on the weekend.
Well, I didn't know about it until the Thursday night when he said, yeah, we're going to play you forward. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's all right, then hopefully I can snag a couple of goals.
But after 6 weeks out with injury, things didn't get off to the best start.
Before the game, I was really nervous. I said to a few of the boys, it's the first game back, and really nervous. And I went out there and had them first 2 shots, took them first 2 marks and missed them. And a few of the boys came up to me and said, oh, you'll be right, just go back and breathe and you'll be right.
Heeding their advice, he went on to prove the difference in the Bombers' forward line, along with Ryan Wiggins, with McGuinness booting 4 goals in the side's first win over arch-rivals Clarence this year.
I was ready to go. Windy was a bit unsure whether to play me or not to keep me for another week, but I said, nah, I'm ready to go. I was training for 2 weeks, so I was raring to go.
Now with a taste for goals, McGuinness is keen to continue contributing down forward and hopes to test the strength of North Launceston's backline on Saturday when his side travel north to play for a spot in the grand final.
Yeah, I'd love to start forward again. Yeah, we're pretty keen to go out there and hopefully do what we did last time and have a tight contest and win.
Running debate where the Hobart City Demons should stay as is or return its name back to North Hobart will soon be settled, with a members' ballot set to commence next Wednesday. Anyone wishing to vote must be registered as a member of the club by midnight this Friday.
The football club members never voted for North Hobart to go out of existence. They never voted for the change away from the traditional red and blue to the current red, white and blue. So finally, the members of the football club will get to have their say.
The ballot will be conducted by an independent polling company, with the result to be announced on October 9.
Good evening. Hobart 12 degrees today, Launceston 14, Burnie and Devonport 13. Below average temperatures around the state, the best being the sunny 15 degrees in St Helens. Yes, it was nice chomping down on fish and chips at Marina Parade today. Friendly beaches, Swansea and Bicheno also bathed in sunshine with 14. The maximum, King Island and Wynyard 13 the top there, Flinders Island, Low Head and Campania 12, Strawn 11, Grove and Ooze 10, and the snow on the highlands lifted from 400 metres back up to the 800 metre mark as the day progressed. Low-level convective cloud covers much of the southeast of Australia. There is a deep low over the Tasman Sea and a cold front over the Southern Ocean moving our way. The close-up shows the clouds streaming across the state from the southwest, mountain waves visible as well. Tomorrow, a strong cold front will cross Tasmania and Victoria. A high will establish over the Bight. A trough remains near the west coast of the country. West and northwesterly winds increasing to 20 to 30 knots during the morning before tending southwesterly tomorrow afternoon at similar speeds, but to 25 to 35 knots over southern waters. A few to tell you about tonight. A flood watch current for the Huon River, a gale warning from Flinders Island all the way down and back around and up to Stanley, a strong wind warning for remaining waters, a small craft wind alert for the lakes, also a warning for sheep graziers around the state, a bushwalkers alert for the Western and Central Plateau districts, a road weather alert for ice above 500 metres and snow above the 300 metre mark. Forecast for tomorrow, showery and windy for Hobart, 5 overnight, 13 the top, a top of 12 for Cygnet, 13 for New Norfolk, becoming windy later. Launceston, a shower or two, clearing later, the wind still blowing, 14 degrees, 13 for Devonport, similar forecast for Campbelltown and 13. Burnie, showery and windy, 13, 12 for Strawn, becoming windy for Smithton, 13 the top, and for St Helens, a possible shower, 15 the maximum, 16 for Swansea, a shower or two for Fingal and 14. On Friday, showers and possible hail over the west, south, Central Plateau and Bass Strait Islands, extending statewide for a time. Snow to 200 metres, rising to 700 later. Fine for the north and east on Saturday, showers over the west and south, falling as snow to 900 metres, and mainly fine on Sunday apart from a shower for the west and far south, easing during the day. Further north and cloudy and 25 in Perth tomorrow, showers for Adelaide, Melbourne and Canberra, fine and sunny for the remainder. Partly cloudy, the conditions at the moment. It's 8 degrees in Hobart, 9 degrees in Launceston, 8 right now in Devonport. And Joe, I was delivered some bad news today. I successfully avoided dry July, but someone's now told me there's something called October coming up. It's getting scary.
Yeah, that's not going to work for you, is it? Thank you very much, Merv. And that's all from the team for now. Have a great evening. We'll see you a bit later. Bye-bye.